Hello, my name is David Bates. Today we'll be talking about Leonardo da Vinci, and we'll be going over his life, the works, the story, but also what can be taught to today's generation. Fix that. Born Leonardo de Serpero da Vinci on April 15th, 1452. He was a master craft artist of his time with multiple backgrounds of work as a painter, sculptor, architect, designer, etc. in some ways. Born in the town of Vinci, he was raised by his paternal grandfather, who had a flourishing legal practice in the city of Florence at that time, where Leonardo would later receive his first examples of artistic training from Andrea Verrocchio, a renowned sculptor at the time. By 1472, Leonardo would later join the Brotherhood of Florence, the Compagnia di San Luca, working in Florence for the next 10 years, with very few paintings surviving that time. By 1483, Leonardo wrote to the ruling family of Milan, the Storfrazzas, asking to work for them now as an artist but a military expert, though his skills of painting and sculpting were mentioned as an added bonus. Over time, a confraternity, or religious brotherhood, had commissioned him for an altarpiece, thus the creation of Virgin on the Rocks. The only downside that they weren't going to give him a fair price for his work. In disgust and retaliation, he sold it to another buyer. By 1499, due to the French invasion of Milan, Leonardo had moved out and returned to Florence, where he would complete the Mona Lisa painting, a very renowned painting of a Florentine official, or maybe their wife, depending on how it's worded. Returning to Milan a few years later, he would begin working on a series of compositions that would later translate into the Burlington House cartoon. It's called that because of where it was stored a couple hundred years down the line, where it was famously known to be stored over time. A few years later after that, he would be hired onto the French royal court to be the first painter and engineer of the current king of that time. Near the end of his life, Leonardo was constantly plagued with illness, leading him to have a stroke that paralyzed the right half of his body. Although disabled, he still continued his work through his notes and his assistants, even if he was becoming pessimistic down the road. Due to his lack of artwork at the time, a counterfeit industry had grown in popularity to search for what was left of his art, mostly known as real Leonardo's, coin termed later on. Due to his lack of artwork at the time, I already said that, but also due to his lack of artwork at the time, by April 15th, 1519, Leonardo da Vinci had drawn up his will, leaving most of his work for his pupil and friend, Francisco Melzi, I believe how you say it. So Leonardo de Serpero da Vinci died later that year, being buried in Ambrose, France. And St. John the Baptist was possibly one of his last paintings, from what I was able to find out. Why I chose this artist? Well, Leonardo da Vinci was someone who created something to be truly remembered. Inventive and versatile, he helped spark something in the art world that was rarely seen for his time. A man that religiously kept notes, even to his death. Artists of the modern world can retrace his steps and learn what the values of art and creativity were for his time, and maybe re-inspire those same ideas again. In closing, what can we learn from this? In our modern day world, it's become a growing movement to remove the past, to forget what we learned, because, well, as unofficially quoted, we are not them, we are better than them. It's something that will not age well with our current and future generations. Art in general is something that can make a person feel what they want to feel out of it, no matter the artist or history tied to it. It is still art. To destroy or revoke information about our history, culture, art, etc., because it looks bad, only proves that we have become what we were founded against. Art can be beautiful, and yet it can be hideous at the same time. Art can teach us the wonders of God's creation through the eyes of his creations, his children, and teach us to see the best the world has to offer through any style or design choice of art you may seek out. And that is our closing. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you for the next presentation.